Doing well. All right, let me put you over here. So I'm looking at the camera. Okay.
Great. How's everything?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for inviting me to be on this podcast. Do we call it a podcast or what is this?
Well, it's not really formally a podcast yet, but I think it's going to evolve into that.
Okay.
That's kind of the goal. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me as a guest.
Okay. Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. So really I'll hit record and we can just start talking. I'll just ask you about your involvement in sort of the family office space, the high net worth or private investor space, what you do, how you got into it, and then just kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Okay. Sounds
Does
good.
that sound good? Anything that you
Yeah.
wanted to cover?
I'm sure we'll hit on plenty of good topics as we go. So nothing in
Okay.
particular.
All right. That sounds good. Let's keep it at 20, 25 minutes. Just
Okay.
kind of keep it
Sounds
short
good.
and sweet. Okay. Good, good. Let me make sure here. I can't really see my little small screen. So, okay. Yeah, that's the record. I'm going to move you back here and then we'll hit record and off we'll go. Let's see, Mark. Let me make sure that I have this correct. So you're Mark Dimchael, of course, from Citron Cooperman, and that's an accounting firm, and you run the crypto division of your
Yeah,
firm.
we
Is that
call
what
it
you want to say?
the Digital Asset Industry Group.
Yes, Digital Asset Industry Group. Okay, great. Okay.
Is this good, or should I try and get a little closer, or a
No,
little
you're
more
fine.
filling the whole screen like you are? I think we're pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're completely fine. I'm going to back up here in a sec. I'm just having trouble seeing my screen. Ah, okay, got it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm here with Mark Dimchael from Citron Cooperman, an accounting firm. And Mark, you run the digital assets division of your firm. Is
Yes,
that
that's
correct?
correct.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, great to have you on today and happy to be getting to know you a little bit better and interviewing you. Could you start by just telling me how you got into this space, what your areas of expertise are, and who are the clients that you serve?
Sure. A little bit of a roundabout story, because I think you'll probably want to hear more about our accounting and tax work. But I got into this space through my background. I'm actually a litigation support accountant. I help lawyers with their legal cases. And over the years, one of my main specialties has been divorce cases, litigation. So spouses splitting up. And I've been doing that type of work since around 2008. And time goes by, I specialized in that area for many years. And around 2017, early 2017, I start to learn more about Bitcoin. And I deal with a lot of hidden income, hidden assets, spouses, disputing things in divorce cases. And I just had a feeling I knew this Bitcoin was going to be big. And I said, I feel like spouses are going to argue about this. And I could one day be tracking down a spouse hiding Bitcoin or cryptocurrency from another spouse. So I figured I got to learn about this. So I'm prepared and can be relevant into the future as a forensic accountant. So I bought a little bit of Bitcoin myself. I moved it around. I traced it from an exchange to a wallet, back to another wallet. I even tried using a tumbler, a mixing service, just to learn what it looked like. And yeah, I kind of self taught myself at the time digital asset investigations. And then I started trying to do that for lawyers as a litigation service. And I did that for a while. But over time, I realized my accounting firm, we're around 3,000 accountants now, my firm, and we've had thousands of clients with digital assets, just buying, selling, holding, every businesses, mining companies, hobby miners, everything you can possibly think of. Uh, I realized these clients need help, need advice, so I formed this group at my firm. So I made sure that all of our groups, the accounting group, the tax group, the audit group, and all of our advisory and consulting groups have the knowledge they need to service those clients and work with those clients going forward.
Okay. What do you see as common pitfalls or traps that people who are getting divorced fall into regarding their digital assets or just other assets that a high net worth or family office, high net worth investor or family office like should be concerned about?
Oh well, in divorce cases, it's just a messy situation, no matter what. There's an inherent distrust between the parties. It can be a very expensive process. Um,
Yeah.
just one day in court could be 40,000, 50,000 worth of attorneys, court reporters, expert fees. Very expensive process. So it's best to avoid court altogether. And the parties should ideally have open communication about what their assets are, and that includes the cryptocurrency. Now, that's difficult when you often have one spouse that may know a lot about cryptocurrency and have the physical control of the cryptocurrency, and you often have the other spouse is totally clueless on cryptocurrency. There's a disconnect there. So that's where I get hired and brought in, usually by the less knowledgeable spouse, to have a conversation, if possible, and disclose and understand what the crypto assets are. Hopefully, we can get to the point where I feel like, okay, like I've had many meetings with usually the husbands. They'll have, maybe they have a Coinbase, a MetaMask. I'll walk them through it on the call. I say, show me your Coinbase account. See that button on the top right says transaction history? Download that. But let's go into your MetaMask. I'll download everything. I'll have the husband email it to me. That's great when we can do that in one meeting, kind of one crypto disclosure meeting. And then I can report back to the other spouse and say, okay, we have some gaps or everything looks good. That's usually best case scenario. And that's usually the cheapest option for the spouses because we can kind of handle it all over a meeting or a few weeks versus the hard way. That's the easy way. The hard way would be the spouse refuses to disclose the crypto. Now we have to subpoena different exchanges. We have to then trace assets from the exchanges, their interrogatories, depositions, a lot more legal fees, and a lot less um, when there's less communication, there's less certainty that I've even found everything because I have to
Hmm.
investigate and find every dime. And then, oh, I found a Bitcoin that I think is the husband's, and then it got transferred to another address. Is that next address the husband's? Is it the husband's brother, the husband's father? Every time the crypto moves, it opens up a new set of questions. So it can be a very expensive process for the litigants.
Yeah, because the nature of cryptocurrency in general, but Bitcoin, of course, is it's pseudo anonymous. So it's very, very easy to move, but difficult to track. I mean, you can track it on the blockchain, but it's hard to track identity, right? Is that what you run into as a forensic accountant?
That's precisely it. And a lot of times in these divorce cases, if we're dealing with, 50,000 worth of crypto or a small amount like that, it's not worth it to hire me to do days or weeks of asset tracing. You have to find ways to kind of shortcut it. If we're dealing
Yeah.
with 50 million worth of crypto, then yeah, sometimes the bills get more out of hand. But for smaller amounts, it's not worth it. I've often written reports saying, look, I traced it this far and then we stopped. We couldn't trace it any further. We asked the spouse where these coins went. We didn't get an answer. And then I'll say, this is what it would be worth if that spouse still has it. That's often the report I write because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just not worth it to trace it all the way through.
Yeah. There's no way for divorce not to be messy. There's just it's going to be a mess. You're
Yeah,
never going to get it perfect. Yeah, that's an unfortunate and sad reality that we even have to experience that on this earth. But it is what it
absolutely.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
absolutely.
crypto makes it even worse because of the pseudo anonymity, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Do you do taxes for clients?
Yes, so that's something that I've evolved into doing more of. I don't sign the returns myself, but I will help with the digital asset accounting work that would then get
Okay.
summarized and put onto a tax return. And then other tax accountants at my firm would do the actual tax filings themselves.
Okay, so everyone at your firm is going to handle their area of specialty, stick in their lanes, and you're going to just stay concentrated on the digital asset space as it pertains to their tax return.
Essentially, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the only tax return I've ever signed is my own. That's it.
Okay. One thing I've noticed in my time in the space, in the high net worth investor slash family office space, is everybody, it's a little like taking piano lessons. Um, Everybody that I've run into who says, "Oh gosh, I wish I played the piano." I don't know if you've ever heard that. See somebody playing brilliantly, like, "Oh, I wish I could play the piano. I took lessons. I should have stuck with it." But almost nobody does. And it's like an aspirational statement a lot of times, and that doesn't make the person saying it stupid or even foolish. It just means there's a difference between the emotional statement and the actual, I was cut out to do this. I'm going to go make sure that it happens.
Right. Yeah,
It's
the
like the,
emotional versus like willing to do that work. That's
yes,
to play the piano and play it well
yes,
takes years and decades of practice.
that's right. And I have that feeling all the time where, gosh, I wish I could play piano that well. And I've learned don't say I wish I could play piano. Just admit that ain't going to happen and be okay with it. In the crypto space slash I'm going to focus on Bitcoin, but let's call it
Mhm.
digital assets. Um, Somebody like you with your expertise, I think is needed because everybody wants to learn about Bitcoin or digital assets. It's the latest, greatest up and coming thing. It's fascinating to a lot of people, but only certain people are actually constitutionally built to want to nerd out and put 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 hours of study in. Now, there's my statement. Do you agree, disagree, or something different than that?
Yeah, I'd say that's true. I mean, we have a limited amount of time in our days, in our lives. Not everyone can learn everything, and even people who are very knowledgeable about digital assets often don't know how to do the blockchain tracing or know how to read what a smart contract's doing. But they may trade a lot, or maybe they know how to do the mining, but when it comes to the business side of things, they don't know or understand it. We can't know everything. So yeah, I think that's absolutely a true statement.
Would you say that the digital asset space is its own ecosystem inside of itself? And what I mean by that is there are multiple areas of specialty inside the area of specialty, which is in and of itself digital assets.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, so many different specialties. Like, I mean, even just at my firm, you have tax, digital asset specialists, accounting, digital asset specialists, auditors. Me, I do a little bit of everything, but I focus a lot on the litigation work, the blockchain tracing. Those are independent professional disciplines in and of itself, but all of us specialize in the digital asset space as well. And that's just accountants. You've got the lawyers who you've got the security lawyers, the intellectual property lawyers, the patent lawyers, the business lawyers, and then every area of digital assets itself as well, the protocols, the payment processors, the whole ecosystem. I think ecosystem is a great word. I use it all the time when
Yeah.
referring to what this is, the digital asset industry. It's definitely an ecosystem by itself, and it's separate and apart in a large way from like regular old US dollars. In some ways they're parallel. Like digital assets are kind of a fintech product, and Bitcoin as well. It's basically a fintech product of itself, but it's kind of its own bucket of you have them, and then that money is separate and apart from your US dollars. And when I do asset tracing, I need to think of it that way as well.
Okay. Let me pivot to a different question, maybe from a sort of different angle on the prism.
Yeah.
Do you see your clients let's just narrow it to Bitcoin because the digital asset space is so huge.
Oh yeah.
Do you see your clients mostly treating Bitcoin like a trading asset slash maybe casino asset, a gambling asset, or do you see them treating it like a long-term buy and hold for the next not only 20 years but 500 years? Like what thinking prevails in your experience?
I'd say it runs the gamut because I do have a lot of clients on both sides of what you just described. I've got clients that do arbitrage and they're trading Bitcoin and on multiple chains, multiple exchanges, and they're not seeing it as a long-term investment. They're making trades because they see a financial opportunity in the short term. And then I've got dozens of clients that are just those buy and hold people, early Bitcoin investors, early Ethereum investors who like bought the ICO and they're still holding large positions. I'd say it definitely runs the gamut, as well as like people running the businesses themselves.
Oh, when you say that, what do you mean people running the businesses themselves?
There's like payment processing companies. There are investment
Oh, got
funds
you.
that invest in cryptocurrency, uh, DAOs, all that. I'm getting a little, well, some of those include Bitcoin, some of them may not, but that's a big piece of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you see, this is actually for my own curiosity, how much do you see businesses, are you in a position to see how much they adopt Lightning as a payment system as opposed to or parallel with standard credit card processing?
Almost never. Um, I haven't seen, I know of one place that accepts Lightning payment transactions, maybe two. The one place I know is PubKey in Manhattan. Other than that, I have not seen anybody use the Lightning Network for actual commerce.
Okay.
I'm sure it exists online. I just haven't come across it.
Well, it's a very new thing. Square just rolled out availability to all of its users just in May of 2026.
Okay.
And it's involuntary, meaning they don't have to opt in. It's now they
Hmm.
can just have it. So yeah, it doesn't
Oh.
surprise me that you don't see much of it. I do know about PubKey because I went there one time a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
but it's such a new technology. I'm not sure people are really aware of like what Lightning does in terms of with the money that it can save. It just basically you can bypass credit card fees
Right.
and get cashed back into fiat without having to hold any Bitcoin at all. But like I
Right.
say,
No,
it's
I'm
so new. Mhm.
I'm familiar with the technology. I know it's out there. I know it's Bitcoin's method to be, brought to the masses essentially, where you can use it for day-to-day commerce in a more practical way. But I did try and download a Lightning wallet. I did try and use one, and this was maybe a year ago, and I had trouble. I had to download many different
Did you?
wallets. They did not work the way they were supposed to, or the channel. I was like, you had to open a channel, close a channel. You could piggyback on someone else's channel. I could not figure it out. And I run the digital asset industry group at a large accounting firm. So if I couldn't figure it out, I don't feel like the public can figure that out in its current iteration. I think in the future there will be easier on ramps and apps that are more user friendly, but I struggled with
Mhm.
it. Have you used
Yeah,
it
when
in actual commerce other than PubKey?
yeah, I did. I have out here where I live in Oregon. There's a Bend Bitcoin meetup group, and there's a
Okay.
coffee shop that accepts Lightning via Square, and
Yeah.
that technology is here. Although I know exactly what you're talking about because I was messing around with my cousin 2 or 3 years ago when he came to town. We like to do stuff like this, and we were trying to trade Lightning back and forth, and
Hmm.
we were running into the same exact problems that you're talking about. So the on rails, the whatever you want to call them, the payment rails have
Hmm.
yes become much more sophisticated. Really, all you do now is you open Cash App, buy Bitcoin with fiat, transfer fiat in from your bank, buy some Bitcoin right then and there,
Hmm.
and then select pay with Bitcoin. Then you scan the merchant's QR code, which functions as an invoice. This actually
Okay.
sounds more complicated than it actually is, but it immediately pays. And then
But
the
it's
merchant
just
receives it in
Cash
fiat.
App's normal, like you press the little scan button in Cash App
Yeah.
and you're good.
Yes. Yeah. You don't have to mess with a node or opening a channel or any of
Hmm.
that. Very technical developer level stuff. Yeah. No, it's all user friendly now. So thanks
Okay.
to Jack
Okay.
Dorsey,
See,
it's
but
getting up and running. What's that?
But part of me though, like you said, you used the word nerd out before, but nerd out about cryptocurrency. Part of me
Yeah.
wants to, I want to self custody my Bitcoin. That was like the initial promise of it. And to be now using Square app or Cash App to be making a payment, part that like, I don't know, it eats
It
away
hurts
at a
your heart
part
a
of me.
little.
Like I wanted, yeah, I wanted it to be this sovereign. You have your own money, you control your own money. And I think maybe Square is just, or Cash App is just step one. And then one day we'll get to that dream of
Yeah.
like just having it on your phone.
Absolutely. That was my exact objection to my Bitcoiners friends group. And they said, no, you don't have to part with your current stack. You were going to part with your fiat for that cup of coffee anyway. So pull fiat from your bank to Cash App, convert it to Lightning, it'll convert back. So you're not actually out any of your Bitcoin stack.
Well, that I get. I guess I more meant the like self-custody ideal that I was
Long-term
thinking
buy
of.
and hold.
No, like the fact that you can hold your own cryptocurrency without using a bank or a brokerage account.
Ah,
Effectively that.
well,
That's the
with
thing
Cash App,
that
you're
I
definitely not. It's an app,
Yeah,
but it's
that's what
not
I
a
mean.
bank per se. Yeah, you know where we're at right now. I get it. I get what you're saying because you do have to
Yeah.
move it in from the bank. We're not a bankless setup yet. It's like a parallel system, I think, right now.
Right. But maybe that's the first stepping stone, and maybe we'll get there in 5 years or something with some new app or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. What are your
I,
thoughts on this? Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I understand you definitely need, for the on ramp, you may need a payment processor to on ramp it. But once I'm holding money in my wallet and in my Lightning wallet, for me, the true Bitcoin ecosystem, like it's supposed to be, you self custody it.
Hmm.
That's like Satoshi's vision in my mind.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely the purest of the purest positions. I
Right.
totally understand that. Yeah. I can't say I deviate from that in an idealistic world, but the pain of the reality that that's not the world currently has caused me to
Right.
like think through that, man, we're going to have to, this thing is not just going to replace everything overnight.
Right.
It's going to look, it's kind of like divorce. It's like messy as we go.
Right, right. Or like baby
Yeah.
steps, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So okay, aside from us really diving into this specialization level discussion here, what do you see as relevant to family offices or private investors? What should they know from your vantage point that they don't currently know?
So the big thing happening now, I'd say currently, is these new 1099-DA forms. I don't know if you've gotten one of these, but if you're trading cryptocurrency on a centralized exchange now in the US, you will be getting a 1099-DA form every year. So we all just filed our taxes. If hopefully you filed April 15th or you're on extension, but the first 1099 DAs went out this past January. They had total proceeds. So every time you sold Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency on an exchange, that's going to be on your 1099 DA form. But it only had proceeds, it didn't have the basis. Starting next year, the exchanges are supposed to start putting the basis on those forms. The problem is they don't always know your basis. If you bought Bitcoin on an exchange, transferred it off to your wallet, and then transferred it back on, they don't know. I mean, it might be the same Bitcoin, but the exchange isn't going to know. So there'll often be blanks on your 1099 DA forms, and that you kind of need to fill in with your own accounting records. That's one of the
Hmm.
people we help clients with, and there's programs for that like Sum, Coin Tracker, Zen Ledger. There's probably a dozen of them out there, but that's something that people and family offices need to be aware of. It's not as simple as you just, oh, I bought some Bitcoin, I sold it. No, every transaction in Bitcoin is effectively a taxable transaction.
Hmm. And so I would imagine the IRS is not going to simply default to taking my word for it as to what my basis is.
Well, you will have, if you have your accounting records, say you're using one of those programs, each of those transactions should be backed up by a blockchain hash and or a purchase on an exchange, and you can either give them your exchange records or they may actually already have your exchange records
Yeah.
because a lot of the exchanges here in the US have been forced to turn over records to the IRS. There's been three public public court cases where the IRS requested blockchain and crypto records from, it was Coinbase, Kraken, and I believe Poloniex were the three. And the IRS won all three of those cases. They asked for
Hmm.
records. The exchange said no, private customer information. The IRS said no, we have a valid legal interest in these records. We want them. The court sided with the IRS all three times. So
Okay.
I suspect there may be other exchanges that are still handing records over to the IRS without fighting it every time because they probably know they're going to lose since the
Yeah.
IRS is 3 for 3 right now.
Yeah, there's a precedent established. But nevertheless, I don't know that a lot of exchanges have sophisticated tools yet up in place for actually really tracking your basis, especially if you're trading 100 times a day or whatever.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. They have had a few years notice to put those in. They're required to put those in, and they need to do it. They need to be doing it for 2026 transactions. They should be sending out these forms in 2027. Now, if they don't know how to do it, like if they have access to it, but they don't know how to get it because they don't have the system in place, that's on them. They could face penalties from the IRS for that. Uh, if it's but I think more often than not, it's probably that they don't know your basis, because at least a lot of the early investors, the OG investors like us, right? You put it in your own wallet, you take it off the exchange. Once it's coming in from some other wallet, they're not going to know your basis anymore. So they're going to
Yeah.
default to putting not applicable. I forget if that's supposed to put unknown or not applicable or a zero. I think it's I think they're supposed to write unknown in the basis number, but there's
See, the
specific
problem
rules
is,
for that. Yeah,
well, the problem is unknown is not a number, and you have to calculate something. So I'm
right.
assuming they're going to default to a zero basis, just like they do with other assets, right? From the IRS's perspective.
Well, they could. They depends on what it is. If it's something like a stable coin, they're probably going to recognize that, hey, you probably paid $1 for this and you probably sold it for $1. So they probably
Yeah.
will be so they try and be reasonable, the IRS. But you're right, if it's something like a Bitcoin and you truly have no records, yeah, they could very well, particularly if you're being dishonest in other ways, they could really hit you and say,
Oh, they could nail you.
we're gonna do
Yeah.
that, and then take us to court if you think otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you do have records, they are working with taxpayers, and they are giving some leeway. At least the clients I've dealt with that have had audits, like they look at our records, they see they're relatively complete. Maybe there's some gaps, like sometimes we have clients who maybe this set of coins didn't have basis, but everything else did, and the other coins had a basis of 80% of what they sold it for. So like the IRS can make reasonable assumptions if it seems like the taxpayer is taking a reasonable position.
Yeah. I think the take home, at least for me, is I can tell. I mean, I'm glad I don't trade much. I'm just a long-term buy and hold Bitcoin
Hmm.
guy, but I'm an expert in Bitcoin. Obviously, you have this area of expertise completely different than mine, and I'm really glad that you do. Um, if I was a trader, I would probably be thinking, dang, I have so many unknown unknowns that Mark is just now revealing. I just need to get a forensic accountant just to handle my business on this side of things so that I don't get in trouble. Um, just in you revealing the unknown unknowns, I mean, I'm going to let my listeners draw their own conclusions, but that would be my conclusion. I don't like being in trouble with the IRS or even to open myself up to the possibility of it.
Absolutely. Like these programs they have, the accounting programs, they're fairly user friendly. So a lot of people do the accounting work on their own. But if they're heavy traders, maybe they have 15 different wallets, 30 different coins, a lot of those folks may, like you said, may just say, I don't have the expertise to do this. I'll hire Mark. Or
Yeah.
others, maybe they do have the expertise to do it. They could use one of these programs, but they just don't have the time. That
Mm.
a lot of people just want to outsource that piece of their
Yes.
life, and then they get they get their 10 hours a year, 20 hours a year, whatever it is, they want that time back, and they pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah. Especially a family office who they're trying not to drown in all kinds of expertise requests for time and all that sort of thing. They're not going to
Right.
want to mess with they're going to want to partner with somebody like you.
Right, they can focus
Yeah.
on making value for their client, growing their client's investment
That's right.
portfolio,
Yeah,
keeping their
protecting
client
the family's
happy
money.
when they get a call late on a Saturday night and the person wants to buy a boat or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the
Yeah.
things family offices do, they can focus on that and then leave the crypto accounting to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how can people get a hold of you, Mark?
Oh, so my website, if you type my name in, I'm sure it'll be listed on the on your platform there. But if you just type my name in to a web browser, my firm's website will probably come up as one of the top hits.
Okay.
On that, you'll
Citron
see I run our
Cooperman.
digital asset group. It's got my email address, phone number, and everything. So feel free to have
Fantastic.
your listeners reach out if they think they need guidance in this area.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time today, Mark. It's been enlightening and fun conversation. I'm glad to have you on.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, Eric. I appreciate
You are
it.
welcome. Okay. Perfect. All right. Great
Okay.
conversation.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Free marketing for me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
absolutely. My pleasure.
I hope
I'm
you,
finding,
what are
go
some
ahead.
of the
Yeah.
other topics you've covered? I'm just wondering.
Well, I spoke with Wendy Kraft. She's runs a family office down in Atlanta. We spoke about private equity 10-year lockups and how real
Mm,
estate is not real estate anymore. It's AI plus solar plus real estate, that sort of thing.
okay. Mm,
Um, Spoke
interesting.
with Chris Putnam Walkerly. She is a philanthropic advisor to family offices and actually literally the number one rated philanthropic advisor. So we
Mm.
spoke about generational wealth transfer, psychology, mindset, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Wow, sounds like you've
And
hit
so,
some very a wide range of topics there.
yeah,
Very good.
absolutely. I love
Yeah.
going down the rabbit hole with people. It's just
Hmm.
fantastic. So, so you'll be my third interview, and
Oh,
yeah, this is great.
excellent. Sounds good. Let me know when it's posted.
Yeah,
I'll check it out and I'll share the link on our social media.
love it, man. That sounds good. I'll post you up on my YouTube and my LinkedIn. And then if you want me to send you the link, I have to shorten it for LinkedIn, but I'll post the full version on YouTube. And then, yeah, if you could
Okay.
share it to LinkedIn, that'd be great. Um,
Sounds good. Yeah, I've got a LinkedIn.
yeah,
My firm's
sweet.
got a LinkedIn, and then I think those are the main things. We might have like an Instagram too, but yeah,
Oh,
it'll
awesome.
be there will be links out there to your website there
Okay. Absolutely. That'd be great.
or to your YouTube channel, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send you all the stuff.
Great.
Do you
Thank you.
know of any, yeah, my pleasure. Do you know of any family offices or family office adjacent folks who might like to come on my show?
I know. So my firm has a big outsourced family office group. I'll send you a link to their main like website page. We call it our Business Management Family Office group at Citron Cooperman. They do like people who can't have like a lot of money, but they don't want a full family office. They would hire like this group basically. Um,
Oh, okay.
our firm's first client was actually the Who, the rock band. And
Oh,
ever
really?
since then, yeah, we've had a large entertainment industry client grouping. Like the Allman
Okay.
Brothers were clients. I think Barbara Streisand was a client for a while.
Oh,
I
how
did the
fun.
damages calculation for the Michael Jackson estate too through one of our partners here.
Wow.
So
Very
that was a
interesting.
fun one.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Let's see.
Cool.
Here
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
I'd appreciate that link. That will help me to get some more guests on the show.
I'm gonna send this to you. Let's see here. So it says, let's see. Oh, probably not the right business management family office.
Let's see if that
Yeah, let me
works.
introduce you to one of these folks. So it's again, it's like outsourced family office. If you can't have a full family office or just need half a family office or don't want to set one up yourself, we kind of do that on an outsourced basis. But I'm glad to introduce you to one of those guys, see if there's
Yeah.
synergies there.
Okay, that sounds really good. What do you want to
Okay.
do? Just like link us up via email or Zoom or something like that? Or I mean,
Yeah, I'll do that.
LinkedIn or something?
I think I have your email address in here. Yep, there you are,
Yeah,
veritaswealth.net. I
that's
will
me. Yeah.
introduce you right after this. I'll introduce you to Doug, I'd say probably.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Fantastic. Well,
All
thanks,
right,
man. This has
thanks.
been a win-win. Yeah, you're welcome,
Definitely.
Mark.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good
All
week.
right.
Take care,
Okay, you
Eric.
you as well.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.